So we're going to add Gregory. So, all right, folks, this is the moment that we have all been waiting for. It's time for the BI 2025 live demo. We've gonna see this bad boy in action with Gregory, and I can't wait to see what it's
Okay.
capable of. So get ready. I know you're going to be blown away. So Gregory, just show us BI 2025. Let's get things going.
Okay.
Come on.
Okay. Thanks for that. Or to okay, I'm going just to stop the camera and share my screen and show you what I can of the
Done
BI
deal. And then we'll
2025.
take some more questions. Actually, one quick question before
Please,
is which version of Tomcat is BI 2025 using?
Tomcat 9 something. No, it's 9
Oh,
something. It's not 10. 10
okay.
is I can figure out
It's
and
fine.
apply
Once you
later
know, we
on.
can
But I
share
think
that.
10 is causing some discussion. Okay,
Okie
let me
doke.
just let me start this just to monitor a little bit. And here we go. Okay, so
Could you share your screen,
I will do that
Gregory? Okay, so maybe I
immediately.
can see it. Let me see if I can see in the backstage. No, I do not see your screen in the
Not yet.
backstage.
Hold on. Entire screen. Second one. Share. Do you see something?
I see it. Here it
Okay.
is.
Okay. I'm going to remove my face from the presentation like this. Stop the webcam if you don't mind.
Yep.
And switch for the screen. Okay. So here we go. So the BI 2025. So this is the BI Launchpad, something that you might use or might not, depending of your preference. But let's start with this one. For those who are used to this one, so you might have immediately identified something really new at the top. You have home favorite, recent document, recently run application, and you have My Tiles. What is it? Let's go. My tiles is a new functionality in BI 2025 that lets you define a tile and its content based on an existing WebB document. So how does it flow? You have all the classic home and with a list of folders. You have your favorites, you have your documents, you have your application, and you have your tiles. Your tiles are, I would say, the main information that you would like to see every time you log in into the BI Launchpad. This is the most important thing that you have to look at first thing in the day to, let's say, to monitor your business, to monitor how is going your production line, etc., etc. So this is a really new in BI 2025 and really easy to put in place. You just have to click here. You have to define a name, let's say tile for something. You have first thing to do to log in before to identify the tile you want to use, validate, and choose the representation and save. Cancel. I'm not going to show it. I'm going to show it on something which is working, or there is a live error. For example, on something which has been predefined before. This is a tile name. This is an open document. That's what you are using, and that's what you have to grab from your existing web intelligence document. This is a report part, a viz existing in a webby document that you decide to paste here. You validate and you choose if it is a tile of a custom size 1 by 1. You will get, sorry, this kind of tiles which are interactive. For example, I show you, right, to follow a list of product and where they are in your stock, for example. This is working live. And furthermore, when you have, let's say, a tile that show you the main KPI, for example, this KPI can be positive or negative, deviate in the time, and you would like to understand what's going on. Of course, you provide the options to go from this tile directly into the webby document where this tile sits in order to get further details. And you can do that by clicking on go to document, and that's it. I'm not going to do it because this will break the flow of my demonstration. But let's start with the demo mode, the data mode. Data mode. Okay, allow me to open a web intelligence document. So I'm going to start with the data before to enter into the dashboard mode. So data mode is this entry in the web intelligence document that you can access since the BI 4.3 size pack 4, right? This is this data at the top here. As you can see here, data, you have reading, design, structure, and data that will show you your data. And from there, you can preview your data, transform your data, enrich your data, synchronize your data in order to build new cubes that are going to be used for the design mode. So by preview, I mean you can preview all your data. Here I'm previewing the sales 2017, 2019, the ID and description, and sales target. I can view them as a table, or if I want, I can explore them this way. This way is pretty useful because I can view every occurrence of the information composing my, for example, my line dimension. I can count them, sort them by ascending, descending. I can use a count, or I can use any measure available for this cube to represent my data, right? And like this, if I do descending, I can see that immediately the sweet t-shirts represent the most of the sales. Let's go back to the count, which is easier, and that's it. Second thing I can do, I can quickly transform my data if I want. So, for example, here, if I want to remove the y dot to have a clean year definition, I just have to click on replace. You don't have to write any code. I click y, replace y dot by nothing, done, and this is done. My column is immediately substituted by the right string. Pretty useful to clean the data when you have multiple lines representing the same rows, but with the wrong orthograph. Let's go back. So pretty useful, right? As you can see, preview, explore, thanks to this facet mode, transform in one click. That's the main thing you can do. Second thing you can do is to synchronize your data. I mentioned it previously in my introduction. For example, here I have two cubes. Two query. One represents the sales for 2017 to 2019, so go on from 2020 to 2022. Why not creating one cube with all the sales? Easy. I select the first cube, I select the second cube, synchronize, and I want to none, which is already possible. I want to do an append cube. Let's do that. I have exactly the same columns with the same column names, so this is really easier, and create. And that's it. I've created a new cube, and I can preview immediately the result of this new cube, which has as many rows as the two previous cubes. You would say, why do we do that? Because it helps. It helps because furthermore, I can merge this new cube with this ID and description, and then this new cube with targeted sales, and I can hide all the previous cubes to my end user. That's really the beauty of the things, which means that when you enter this mode, you can prepare your data set for yourself to create a report, but also for everybody that need data that are merged and validated by someone. As you can see, I have the options to hide the cube, which means that when I will enter the design mode, I will only see one cube, which can be this one, or the last one that I have created at the end, the ones that I want to keep and display for my end user. And this is really powerful because if you look at, am I still on screen? If you look at all the cube
You're
I
still on
have
the
at the
screen.
beginning, which are the result, I'm on the screen, which are the result of my refresh, right? I have one universe from eFashion. I have eFashion on SAP HANA. I have a second database, which is Excel, and a fourth entry, which is Textile. And I can go on, right? I can add as many queries as I want. I'm not limited here in terms of queries. And by the way, in average, we have 7 queries in a web document. So sometimes it's good to use this tool to clean all the queries in order to build one virtual cube, which is what you're going to use. And so, as you can see, every time I add a cube and the data corresponding to it, by the data, I mean the dimension and measures, this is hidden. And this option show you what your end user are going to use. That's the purpose of this data mode. Furthermore, I would like to highlight also the fact that every time you apply a transformation on a data, for example, if I look at my previous objects here, there is an icon that let me know that, hey, this one has been changed. And how has it been changed? You just have to enter here into the FX to look at the different transformation, successive transformation being applied for this column year, for the year dimension, which means that all the transformation and modification are listed and I can remove them if I'm not happy with one specific transformation. Okay, all the things I've just explained right now until now are available to all of you since BI 4.3 Service Pack 4. Of course, this data mode is available in BI 2025. And what are the new capabilities inside BI 2025 for this data mode? Quickly, and this is really powerful now. This tool is is now a monster in BI 2025 in the sense that now, for all of you, we give you access in addition of all the one-click action transformation to the formula language, which means that I can, if I select this dimension, I can use the new formula editor to transform in place my information. For example, here I have an object which is line. I want to merge it, let's say, do a concatenation with another object in my dataset, which can be, let's say, category. Let's call it category. My completion should propose it to me immediately. Where it is? Doesn't want, or why? Okay, I want this one. Are we going to bring it here? It is easy. Okay. Okay. Ah, yes, I know, because it is hidden. So this is vente underscore 2017-2019 dot category. Here we go. And normally, if I click on OK, here we go. Now I have an objects. I've transformed all the data in place for these specific objects. To simplify, yes, let me put it shows. That's the reason why I didn't get auto completion in my formula editor. So as you can see, I've enriched my dimension lines in place, and I did something really dummy, right? It is just a concatenation, but just to be sure to let you, I have access to all the capacity of the formula editor. You can do what you want. If you want to do an if then else statement directly in the data mode, this is entirely doable. So I can do in place transformation. Furthermore, what I can do, and yes, every time I do a transformation in the list properties for these objects here, displayed here in this panel, you see the formula being applied to calculate this dimension. Another thing I can do, I can build a new variable directly, right? I can create fx. Hold on one second, I want to use the right, yeah, this is the right cube. I want to use this one. I can directly create a new object. And this applies for dimension and measures. So let's call it new object. I can qualify it as a dimension or measure or detail. Let's use it as a dimension and we call it equal. Let's say city. Sorry, city. It will propose me city and create a concatenation with state, for example, right? State here. Here we go. And okay, what I'm going to get, I'm going to get this new objects added automatically to my initial cube, etc., etc. And one important thing to note here is that every time you open the formula editor, either to enrich the lines, a dimension, or a measure, or to add a new object as part of your initial cube or the virtual cube, you are not created new variables in the design mode. The objects you are created remain true objects, dimension or measures directly in the list of available objects. And that's it, right? This is really powerful. You completely hide the complexity of the formulas to your end users that are going to use these objects here. So that's a first new innovation, the ability to use the formula editor to enrich your data in the data mode for existing objects or existing objects in the original cube, this kind of cube, or for the virtual cube. The second
This
thing
is
we
really
did,
phenomenal, Gregory.
yes,
I'm glad you're showing that. Uh,
I
g-
love it.
g-
Really,
g-
it's a small thing, but really for you, game changer, because everything you do here in the data mode can be shared,
yeah,
with the end
definitely.
user, right? This is another use case you can.
Yeah,
The
it's
other
so
thing
critical.
I mentioned
Yeah,
that
I agree with
here,
you.
this cube, this is an append. We did an append, which means that I took the first cube and I have added the data to the first cube, right? But look at the list of operator we propose
Mm.
you. In BI 2025, the two new things we had, this is the right join and the right join without intersection. That's the two new things we are adding in BI 2025 to complete the list of operators that you can use. Really nice
Yeah,
improvement.
and the data mode is just it was cool in 4.3, and that was when you've introduced it for the first time. But I will tell you, I think two things that were missing before was one, the data mode, and you've drastically improved it. And now it's the ability to do dashboards in Webby. So I think these were two things that were, I think, really limiting factor for Bobje. And I think this is really phenomenal. Gregory, I have a
Yes,
question before we move on. That was more about uh, the cubes. Just hold on.
yes, please.
Okay, so there's a question from Tim. Data mode is available on 4.3. Is this different from BI 2025 that is already available? I know it's very different, but maybe you can put a couple words on that.
Yes, uh, this data mode is available starting BI 4.3 Service Pack 4. It is the same in BI 2025, but in BI 2025, we are adding the ability to access the formula editor in data mode to enrich your cubes. Does it make sense?
Yep. I have a question from John. Gregory is referring to creating cubes using data mode. Where are these stored? Is there a new a server in Business Object to host this functionality, or is it hosted on an existing service/server?
This,
I Yeah.
yeah, it is. This is on existing server. This is not a new service. Uh, Today, since the beginning of business objects, every time you query data in web intelligence, they are stored in technical components that we call the Webby microcube, right? Up till now, this Webby microcube was a kind of hidden. With the
Yeah.
data mode, we expose it and we let you manipulate the data inside. That's what the data mode allows you to do. It allows you to view the data in the microcube, which is populated by your query, right? Here. This is a query. We let you modify, enrich, transform the data stored in the Webby microcube. And furthermore, to create virtual cube, which is represented here in this area that you name the data flow with a green color.
And how
Okay.
effective is it to handle large data set? We got a question from Santosh.
Yes, perfect. I love these questions because you should all be aware that now Business Object is using a 64-bit architecture,
You bet.
which is very good because it means that if you provide enough CPU and enough memory, uh, this is potentially unlimited as long as you provide enough memory and enough CPU. Handling 1 million rows in a Webby cube is, come on, you can do it. Easy.
Two
Okay.
questions before we move on. Can the new tab, My Tile, be customized by users groups?
I have to double check, but I think this is personal, which means that it is the user logging in that will personalize my tiles.
Okay. Okay. Two more questions and we move on. The new data cube do imply that the size of the Webby report will increase, or the new cube is only logical?
The new cube is normally logical, which means that the size of the Webby document should not increase.
Let's take a question from Reimer here. Again, will it be possible to change slash edit the primary cube after append slash join?
Yes, yes, definitely. And of
Okay.
course, all the transformation you are applying here, all the synchronizations, the fact to join two cubes into a virtual cube that you are doing, you can refresh this,
Okay.
which means that you are doing something, you get some data here. For example, here you get the preview, but the next week, the next month, when you will refresh, you will get all the new data. And on this new data, you're going to apply the same transformation and again, which means that you do this once, but once you update the data, everything is updated in one shot.
Nice.
Yeah.
Gregory, let's move on.
Okay. So this is once again, I wanted to start with the data mode and the new data capabilities in BI 2025. I will close this first document, don't save, and I will show you um, the tile here. I mentioned that you can, from the tile, jump directly into the Webby document. Oh, there is a small error. The way you will do that is to click here and go to Webby document. So there is different way to open a Webby document. I can click on the tile here, but if, for example, here, the information in this tile is interesting and I want to look at it, let's go to it. And let's open a Webby document in BI 2025 by using the BI 2025 capabilities. And that's what you're going to see in a few seconds. So this is a Webby document that I prepared for all of you, just to introduce you that now with Webby document, thanks to the new dashboarding capability, you can start to tell wonderful story to your end users. So let's start with what you have on the screen. As you might have seen, the size of the layout of this dashboard, I call it this dashboard, fits the screen. And this is on purpose because we provide you layout that fit exactly the size of your screen, depending on the device you would like this dashboard to be open on. Furthermore, to let you tell very nice story, we propose you rich text. Rich text is this component here on the screen that let you put information in perspective by using your different formatting, different color coding. You can do by using the plain text capability. But what the rich text cells support is HTML tag, which means that if you are proficient with HTML, you can use the rich text to insert inside any HTML that you would like. This gives you the ability to display videos if you want. A YouTube, for example, here in the screen for you if you want. And that's what the rich text capability is all about. To navigate, you have icons and you're going to open the first dashboard. So this is my very first dashboard. This is not a report. This is only 1 screen dashboard, not multiple pages. The first I would like to mention is now, if you want to interact with it, you do not have to look in the screen for all your input controls. The input controls are directly inside the dashboard. You have different kind of input controls. This kind of switch that lets you select additional things
Nice.
or to remove. This is we have checkbox. If I want to filter
Yeah.
for certain period,
Yeah, this really looks like
I'll show you quickly.
I was going to
I
tell you
hope
some other BI solutions, but this is extremely interactive. So, and that's the demo effect, with the, I'm sorry for the latency that we have. I think, uh,
a few minutes ago. Okay, never mind. So I can use drop-down list
okay,
as
here
well.
it
So
is.
if I
Here
want
it
to
is.
focus on something, a few items. Here we go.
Here it is.
Here it is. What do we have on my screen?
Yeah, it's still refreshing, Gregory.
That works.
While it,
Where
and
is my
while it loads,
network?
Yeno has got a question. Do you plan to have a BO Klein
Network
version
issue.
to BI 2025?
Yes, we have, and it will have the same capabilities that I'm showing you on the screen, exactly one-to-one.
Okay.
Okay, what else do we have? Uh, so I mentioned this kind of interactivities, right? Uh, and we are able to achieve this thanks to new widgets.
Cool.
Not only we call these the widgets of type filters, like this bullet point here, like the checkbox here, or the drop-down list here, but also widgets of type charts that let you drill up and down specifically to look at specific information if you want. This is new frankly input control inside. I would like to mention
Mm.
also that you did one step further in terms of interactivity. Uh, you know tooltip, right? Tooltip is the
Yep. Yep.
small
Yep.
piece of information you can see here when I display the data point. Now with the BI 2025, you have custom tooltip, which means that you can decide what will be the content of the tooltip being displayed instead of showing state, etc., or something else, and the measure
Oh,
corresponding.
nice.
You can decide to display a chart, completely a chart in
Mm.
the context of your selection. This is a chart. Or if I would choose something else, it will show me another chart in the context of the data point I've selected. Show me my chart, please. There we go. There we go. Not only you can choose to display one chart, but if you want to provide more details and a lot of context, this can be multiple charts. Here we go. In this case, in the context of the bar chart I've selected, I will get a multi-chart. This is fully interactive. You can choose what you want to display inside. And furthermore, if I want to reach the next details, I can do custom tooltip on custom tooltip. This is really up to you. There is no limitation regarding the possibilities. Right, really powerful if you want to provide real interactive dashboard. So this is the first dashboard and the first piece of information you can create with the BI 2025. Dashboard number 2, we did not stop there. Now, with BI 2025, you do not have to go to the next page to see your table. Everything can fit in one dashboard. To enable that, we propose you scrollable table like this. So all the information fit in your screen, in your dashboard, and you can go down, up and down to see all the details. Not only can you view all the data contained in your table, but we think that the thought that it would be very useful is, furthermore, instead of showing measures as a number, you can replace this by different microcharts. So now, with the BI 2025, you can decide to display your information as microchart. We have 4 kinds of microcharts. We have the bar chart, we have the pie chart, we have the bullet, and you have the R variable here. And as you can see, I switch between both by using this component. We call this show height
Mm.
component. It gives you the possibility to display, if you want more information the way you want. Right? You just show height what I want to display, and everything can be, of course, controlled by this input control in an easy way. Here we go. And here I have my microchart and my table. Okay, so this is kind of the kind of things we will let you achieve with the BI 2025. Furthermore, we have this dashboard, but not for a laptop consumption. This is a dashboard ready to be used on a smartphone. As you can see, it fits nicely the size of a smartphone,
Mm.
but in addition to this, we put
Ah,
inside
so
this
it's
layout
interactive. Yeah, yeah.
all everything you need to be displayed on the screen of your of your smartphone, and you can choose if it is a very big smartphone, a medium smartphone, or a small smartphone. Same thing for the tablet, and so on and so on.
So this is fully interactive, and again, this is
Yes,
included with your licenses that you have today. You
indeed,
don't need to buy
indeed, indeed,
more.
indeed. Everything is part of it. And furthermore, I mentioned that just to complete the demo here, I mentioned when you have this, you need to be connected in the web browser to consume it, right?
Mm.
That's the way Webby works today. I mentioned that the second innovation we would like to provide you is the ability to export the dashboard in a new format that which is consumable outside the business objects world, which means without any business objects access. We call this the Web Intelligence Document Extract, WIDX. To do
so,
that,
so you mean you don't need, like right now on this phone or like this this Webby X? Uh,
you don't need to be connected to internet. That's what I mean. You don't need
mm,
any business objects. You just first need to select, going to export to, select the new WIDX format. You select the dashboard you would like to export
yeah.
and click on export. That's it. What you will do, it will generate a package, a new package. Let's wait a few seconds just to see the output of this package. This package will be a zip file that we have to
Mm,
download locally. I did it previously, right? Let's wait. Okay, that's the sense here. Keep, and here we go. You get a new package. This package is this zip file. Do you see it on the
yep, I
screen?
see it.
Yep.
I see it. Yep, yep, yep.
You unzip, you will get this unzip folder. And inside this unzip folder, you will get this new WIDX things. This is completely autonomous. You don't have, again, to be connected to internet. You don't need business objects.
But
You just need
s-
one
s- s-
browser.
okay, so that just means you need a browser. You click on that file, and it's gonna open. You don't need any client or anything behind that.
Exactly.
It just
Exactly. That's it.
like a PDF or Word document. You'll click on it, it opens.
Ex- That's that's it. That's what you need.
That is
And
really cool, and it's gonna be interactive.
let me show you what this is opening on the second screen. Now you see it on the first screen.
This is phenomenal.
And here you go. I hope I didn't break
It's
something.
gonna load. It's got, just I know it looks like you've got some connection issues when you
I
present
don't need
in your
connection, right?
device. So, okay.
I just need some CPU on my side to make it work and to share it. Let's give it. Come on. Ah là là. C'est
Well,
parti.
while it's waiting, we got a question here from Charlene. Do you know if it requires coding or is it a drag and drop? We use Tableau,
No,
and
no
you need
coding at
coding.
all. Just drag and drop.
So, Charlene, I hope that answers your question. Actually, why the hell go on Tableau with that?
Ah là 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 là. What's going on?
It's the live effect, and you probably don't have enough CPU or something behind the scene. I know you've got lots open behind, so
Let's close
uh,
a few things. I
oh,
hope this is not the sharing which is breaking it. Okay, let's reopen it. Open.
we got a question from Mr. Kevin Orzel. Welcome, Kevin. Can AI be used to provide a high-level exact analysis of this dashboard data?
No, not yet. AI is not yet is not part of it. If you want to do some, okay, here we go. So I just have to reopen it. Here we go. So this is the same thing I showed you previously. This is a Web Engine dashboard WIDX version. This is completely autonomous. I can filter it quickly. Here we go. And you will get the data up to date without any need to access business objects, right? I want to focus on this, and that. Here we go. And you get the data. This is totally interactive. So this is one version I show you, right, of the previous dashboard I show you, but this one is completely disconnected. If I wanted to go offline, this will continue to work. If I transfer this to my mobile, this will continue to work without business objects. That's the beauty. And I would like to open the second version because I did two preview, the listing, because I know in the business object world, we love table and list of things. And the second dashboard I show you when I was connected in business objects can also be exported as a WIDX, and you can play with it within the WIDX, and it works really, really nicely. Let me show you. So like I said, the analogy is totally right. This is a kind of PDF, but but with PDF, we do not provide any Acrobat reader, right? This is
Right,
completely
right. It just
autonomous,
opens in your browser, right?
offline. Yeah, that's it. Let me transfer it to
And
the
it
next.
supports like what? Chrome, Edge?
Well, in fact, this is Chromium. Well, in fact,
Okay.
this is a Chromium interaction things. As you
Mm.
see, here we go. You have all the data. You can filter them. Here we go. Here we go. I click. Here we go. A scene. Blah blah. Apply. Apply. Everything is applied almost instantly, and I can switch. All the interaction are available as well as the data. This is really wonderful and powerful.
Yeah, and hey, we got a question from Umar. Hey, Umar, good to have you on. Umar has got a very good question. Can WIDX be scheduled and sent to any FTP? And from there, user opens and export data into Excel and download it. That way,
Okay.
the user's in control.
Okay.
Good question.
The WIDX can be scheduled and export into your favorite file system, which can be FTP, SFTP, Microsoft Drive, Google Drive, or any uh, internal website or external website. Once you get the WIDX cannot be exported to Excel. Right? The WIDX is a kind of artifact. It's a dashboard with the data, with the interaction, with the layout, with the formatting, etc. And that's it. But it cannot be exported to Excel from WIDX. You cannot do an export to Excel
That makes
from
sense.
WIDX.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
It makes sense.
Okay. What I wanted to show you. Oh yes, go back to my demo because I have furthermore things to show you. Okay. Now let's go into the design mode. And let's start with the blank report. I will explain. Do I still have time quickly?
Oh, yeah. Don't worry about it.
Yes. Okay. So is it clear regarding the dashboarding capabilities and the WIDX format?
I think it is, and I'd love to see some of your comments about if anybody's got the wow effect with the WIDX, because I certainly do, and I'm just curious to see what the community says. I think it's phenomenal. I
Yeah.
don't want to be
I,
biased, of course.
I really love it. Really love it. So now, yes, the question how to achieve that now, because that's important, right?
Yep.
I show you this is preparation work before, but can I achieve this in the let's say less in the next 10 minutes, for example? So let's have a look at the new interface. As the interface, that's the same interface that you have in BI 4.3, but enhance it a little bit. Let's have a look at the first modification we brought into the new interface. we have a left panel here. To simplify the selection of your data sources, you will have to access this left panel that expose the information that you can access. Universes, web intelligence document, Excel if you want. And specifically about Excel, I would like to inform you that if you want to import Excel file in Webby, this is really easy now. You click on Excel, Excel pop-up will appear here. You can upload it directly. For that, you just have to select, let's say, a personal folder and click on here, the upload document. You do not have to be in the BI Launchpad to upload the Excel from the BI Launchpad into the personal folder or public folder. You can do it directly from Web Intelligence now. Again, the workflow is really simple. Click on Excel. I want to use an Excel file, upload from there, and that's it. So you access everything. By the way, we support OData. That's
Good
important for
still.
all of
That's
you.
good.
It's for there.
Yeah.
And we support information stored in Google Drive and Microsoft OneDrive. So if you are using this kind of repository to store information, you can use them within Web Intelligence. So that's, we call this the data source panel selector. Okay.
And talking about which for OData, have you done any improvements with BI 2025 when it comes to OData connectivity?
Uh, from OData, not that I can mention at this point, Bruno.
Okay, okay. You know, one thing that I think we've actually uh, introduced OData to a lot of customers, and I think that was extremely well received because everybody wants to use the power of the semantic model. And I've got a question for you. Do you have any plans to do something similar for Tableau?
What do you mean for Tableau?
Is there any connectivity like OData with Tableau that you could leverage, or
If
that's
Tableau,
something that
if Tableau can be exposed as an OData flow, there is a which
okay.
supports OData v4, for example. I think which it means that I can connect my Webby document to an OData flow, which is
Mm,
initiated by Tableau. Yes, I can do
okay.
that. And the way around. Uh,
Yeah,
my
fair
Web
enough. Of
Intelligence,
course.
my Web Intelligence document here can be expressed as an OData flow. This is not something new, right? Yeah, we can do that. This 4.2 service, 4.3 service pack 2. Okay, so on the left, this data source selector here. Second thing, the layout selector. Haha, that's where the things start to be interesting. Because today, like I mentioned, since until now, Web Intelligence equal paginated report. What does it mean, paginated report? It means that you choose a paper size, A4, A3, A5, or US letter, etc., that you apply. Now we propose you a bunch of predefined layout that will fit the screen size you're going to propose. For example, if I want to create something for mobile, I choose small mobile. And here we go. The layout will correspond to the screen size of my devices. If I want to a small monitor,
Nice.
here we go. Big monitor, one click. At the top of this selector, it let me know what is currently applied and what I'm going to manipulate. And this is express the real size. You have the size here expressed in pixel. You can choose. This can be inches or centimeters. You choose. I prefer Excel because this is more convenient to define the size of a layout to be consumed in analytics. And you support monitor for dashboarding, mobile, but also tablet, medium tablet, uh, large tablet. You choose. Not only, I would like to finish on this one, it's really important. We propose you by default some predefined size, for example, for the small monitor. But if you are not happy with the size we propose you by default, you can customize it. Easy. You go on the left, on the right now, you check layout, you have print layout, small monitor, it corresponds to the layout being selected by default. But if I want to custom layout, I can do it. And here you enter the size in pixels, centimeters, inches you would like. If you want to keep the ratio 4:3 or 16:9, you do it. If you want it to be portrait and landscape, you choose, you click on apply, and that's it. Which means that we open the possibilities, right, for all of you in terms of
Mm.
custom layout. Click. So now you have a custom layout or a layout that you would like to use. I will use a medium one. Oh no, less small one. Let's keep the small one. There is a third panel on the left at your disposal. This is the reports element. Reports element correspond to cells, charts, and tables. Okay. We have many new things here. That you have some field button here that let you select what you want to achieve. Here, it means the first button here, it means all the report element at your disposal. You might have noticed there is two colors for the report elements, blue and orange. Here you have the full list, everything at your disposal, and you can mix them, no worries. But if you want to use report elements that are more convenient to be used for a paginated way of report, something that you can use on multiple pages, that you would like to export in PDF on multiple pages, you filter the report element by using this. This is all the reports elements, the classic blocks, the classic charts, the classic tables that are convenient to use to create paginated reporting. But if you want to use or build things dedicated for a dashboarding consumptions, you click on the next one here, because here, this new reports element, they have a specific name. We call this widgets. This is a new visual library that we embark by default into Web Intelligence Starting BI 2025. So the way to filter is here you access everything and you can use everything, whatever, we don't mind. Everything will be compatible.
Mm.
If you want to create something which is more, let's say, transactional reporting with a lot of details, here, that's the things. If you want to create something which is more dashboarding, click here, and that's it. So let's create it, or you can use it. Drag and drop again on the canvas. I will maximize the size. By the way, we propose some kind of magnet actions to create this. You don't see it. So once you have provide a nice size for your table, you have to feed it. To feed it, yes, the panel on the right have changed a little bit. Now they are in column, right, to access the different things. Here you have a list of objects, uh, etc. No, instead of having them in column. So this is just a minor change. So
Mm.
what I'm going to take multiple objects, let's say this, and bring it into my table. And this is my scrollable table. I want a bunch of measures, here we go, that I'm going to add to my scrollable table. And here we go. I'm going to resize this quickly. Uh, I'm going to remove the warning here, close. I'm going to do some quick resize. Quickly, here we go. Nice. What I want to do now for this scrollable table, I want to display some of the measures as Smiko charts. I go in the formatting area, I click here, and I choose. I want margin to be displayed not as a text, but as a bar. Bang, done. I want quantity sold to be replaced, to be displayed as available. Done. Sales revenue. Now I want sales revenue to be displayed not as a text, as an integer as it is, but as a bullet. Here we go. Done. I've created my scrollable table. Fit to page. Here we go. Quickly. Now let's bring some interaction. So interactions are all the widgets with the tag filters. They are listed here. So I want my multi-list here. I'm going to drag
Mhm.
and drop and put it here. Let's get it to a convenient place. So let's resize it a little bit. Here we go. I want to filter this by using category. And here we have our checkbox for category. Done. Let's move it a little bit. And here we go. I want something else. I want a double slider. Let's bring the double slider in the picture. Let's put it here. And I want the double slider to control sales revenue here in my table. So I'm assigning sales revenue here. Second thing I have to do, which is important, is what does this slider has to control? So I'm going into the formatting area here, and I want the double slider to target not the list, not the previous input control, but only the table, the block here, which is highlighted when I do a mouse over, as you can see. And there we go. Now let's resize it. As you can see, I wanted to show you that some improvement in terms of placement. We have some guide. You see this guide with a magnet effect where they are really next. You don't see it, but they are really next. There is a kind of snap to the next widget when you are building it. And that's it. Something else that I want to use, I want to make it really nice. I want to insert a picture. Do we have a picture? I think this is under cells. I can bring an image. Let's bring an image. Here we go. If I want to bring an image, I go into properties, I click browse, I'm going to select an image. My image will be this banner, validate. I want the banner to be normal, so I'm going to resize it. Let's bring it from the bottom at the top. Here we go. And let's size this to fit perfectly the size. And here we go. And let's make it top. Nice. And I want it not to be normal, but to fit. Done. Here we go. Just to click a quick save. Done. And there we go. So quickly, we can be these kind of things. And now, just for the beauty, let's export this one as a WIDX export. I hope I'm going to get the result immediately. Done. Keep. Open the corresponding folder. Here we go. This is this one, the one number one. Let's do an unzip, extract all. Okay, extract all. I'm prompted, I show you. Extract everything quickly. So the output is really small. If you look at the size of the zip file, it is 10 megabytes. One extracted, this is around 30 megabytes, something not really big. Yes, my CPU is really used. Okay, so the wait is a little bit long, but here we go, here we go, here we go. So this will open my folder with the stuff. Okay, this is blank report. Just open it. Open. You see the small icon corresponding to the new. Okay, this is going to open on my second screen. Let's wait it to be open on the second screen and bring the second screen. And here we go. The report I've created in less than 5 minutes. Everything is there. So now I can continue to play with it. Here we go. And I can slide to something else. Et voila. It works.
That's phenomenal. That is really, really nice.
And maybe the last one. Yeah, the last one. I mentioned the custom tooltip. This is really, again, really easy to put in place, right? You just have to select your table, for example, if you want to implement it, right click. Where is my custom tooltip? Edit tooltip, this entry, the new tooltip. Edit, display a report or report part element. So you have to select something which is available somewhere, which has been pre-built in the report. Here I have a tooltip block. Okay.
Yep.
I'm going to select, let's say, margin by city. This one. I
This
can
is
do a
so
preview.
easy. Mm.
Easy. Validate. Done. With, for the purpose of the demo, I'm going to show you. Show. Here we go. Save. Let's go in view mode. And now, here we go. Right? Easy.
Yep. That
I
is
think that's
very
it.
easy and
That's
intuitive.
all I wanted to show
Thank
you.
you very much, Gregory. Gregory, do you still have some time or not? I know it's late
Yeah,
in
yes,
here,
I still
so
have. Yeah, yes.
well, do you also
Uh,
want to
we
join
are, we
the?
are
Sorry.
right on time. I wanted to say.
Okay. Let's take a couple questions. And you know what? Probably let's. Okay, I'm gonna let all the panel in, so that they can join as well and perhaps help you to answer the questions. So I'll add KJ Keith Johnson from CBON Data. Hey KJ.
Hey, how's it going today?
Super good, super good. I've got Nathan Truin as well from Protivity.
Hello. How you doing?
We also have Gassan if he's still on. I will see if he's still on or not. Well, here he is. And I will add also JF. So first of all, folks, and then we'll take some more questions. Well, I mean, you guys have been doing BobJ pretty much most of your life. Well, what do you guys think? Are you excited or not? What are your thoughts? KJ, let's you start.
Stick me on the spot. Thanks a
Of
lot.
course, always.
No, I think there's a lot of new stuff that's coming out. It looks great. Now I've got, like, just as everybody else on the comment section, more questions, right? Supportability, what's running behind the scenes. So really excited to kind of get in there and get start ramping up on the new version. That's for sure.
Nathan, what do you think?
Exactly. I'm very impressed with what's coming, especially all of the dashboarding functionality. Some of the things I've seen overlapping some of the other products.
Yeah.
So definitely some things are bringing in, going forward, being able to bring in some of the discovery, but also being feature parity with some of the SAC stuff that I'm seeing as well, too. So being able to say, okay, we don't have to rewrite all our stuff and go move to a different platform. We can stay where we're at and just enhance what we have, too. So a lot of that is very nice to see. And the platform, it looks like being easy to update and maintain going forward is going to be really nice as well. So,
hey, Gassan, what do you think? What are your first thoughts?
Well, like at Videotron here, we have people went away at some point from BO for the lack of this the whatever functionalities, that great functionalities that are that Gregory showed us, and then the plan for 2025 is to bring people back to BO, and then the decision was BO was the main reporting platform that's going to be at Videotron. And we have the people pushing for Tableau, people pushing for Power BI, and many other analytics tools. But again, everything is expensive, and then if you really wanna invest on your whatever you already invested, it's the right. We have the right tool now. The right tool to start bringing people over. So I guess it's great news for whoever is in love with business objects, and one more reason why we're going to be busy for the next probably 10, 15 years, I guess. I might not be there, but anyways.
Well, I hope you will anyway. And I think one key point that you point out is, well, you don't need to get some more licenses for other solutions because that's included in your current licenses. JF, what do you think?
I'm impressed, really impressed. I'm pleased with what I've seen, and I just can't wait to start kicking the tires because we can definitely use that.
And I have just two questions before we dive in. Can WIDX export be denied for users in the CMC? I was thinking about the same thing because I see potential, compliance issues. Gregory?
For WIDX,
Yep.
Well, in fact, you have really to consider this point, right? WIDX will contain data and representation of data
Yeah.
and interactivity. So which means that this is your responsibility to be sure that what you share is shared with the right person. In fact, same rules apply for the PDF, right? When you generate a PDF with a lot of data, you have to make sure that the recipient uh, is supposed to get access to this kind of PDF. WIDX will be exactly the same.
And do you know when the PAM will be available, by the way?
There is a draft version which is planned, I think, for this week. I have to double check. But otherwise, the PAM will be made available at the same time than the release, so March 12th. But if you are interested by the draft, I think you can arrange things here.
And okay, now that's more question for the audience here is, what do you think of the data mode? Have you used it? And I mean, have you used other solutions also doing data prep? And have you been able to compare that? Who wants to take the first answer? Nathan?
Sure. Yeah, I've used data mode in some of the new reports, especially with the support of the multi-source connections going away, trying to convert over, building new reports using that methodology. Prior in the past, I had done not only that, but just basically merging all your sources in the data source before going forward. Both methods, but seeing the data mode and seeing how it's evolved, coming out in early 4.3, it had a little bit of hiccup at the beginning, but then it really got its momentum, and it works really well now. Doing that, and I definitely recommend anybody to do it. It works really well. You can still go back and preload all your data, pre-sort everything in your source database, and merge, do some of your ETL there. And for large data sets and complex data, some of that you may still want to do a combination of both. Pre-stage some of your data with complex functions, and then bring that together and data merge that in the Webby environment. So it works really well.
Well, have any of you guys tried BI 2025? Have you been part of the program? I know there are a lot of people that have joined the BI 2025 program. Were you part of that?
No.
Nope.
So I do know, of course, the Wiiisdom team actually was in Paris last week to see. Well, I've seen Gregory 3 weeks ago or so in Paris, which was cool, or 2 weeks, I can't remember. And I think our team is already working on, or has been working for some time, to make sure that Wiiisdom supports that. So outside of that, sorry about that. Any comments about BI 2025 from KJ, Gassan, JF? What are your thoughts? Any?
I mean, for us,
Or you got nothing to say?
Well, we will the plan is 4.3 SP4 or SP5 first step before hitting the 2025. Again, from our experiences with SAP, jumping on the newest version wasn't always fun. So some people probably might gonna wait a couple of months, probably a year or so, before jumping on the BIA 2025 wagon, unless SAP can guarantee that the jump straight to BI 25 is not gonna bring too many issues, too many problems. So this is that from a customer perspective. We don't want to be the guinea pigs of every software supplier. So hopefully 2025 won't deceive us.
I mean, it's always the same thing where, there was a comment earlier in the chat where on the new versions, it's, definitely it's new and it's not as stable. And, that's why something I can say, though, things I think got better over time, but I can definitely understand your comments. So.
And one of the things related to that, if you remember, we have all of our prior versions, 4.0, 4.1 through 4.3, we've all had, major release versions with service packs and then patches to fix those. Going forward, the BI 2025 through is just going to be patches, like
cumulative patches.
weeks.
Yes.
So really those versions, we're introducing features, and they've been introducing features in the service packs for a little while now, as we've seen, data mode being one of those that came in with the service pack. So if you think of it going forward as those BI releases being minor release versions, corresponding to like what you would see in service packs prior, with then our patches coming every few weeks after that. If you feel the need to wait for at least one patch to come out, we can, that's a possibility for 6 weeks or so before the first patch. That would be a similar methodology to what you did waiting for the first service pack. The biggest difference is you're not waiting a year for the first service pack. You're only waiting 6 weeks. For the first service pack, for the first round of bugs to get taken care of.
Gregory, any comments to that?
No, you're absolutely right. Quality is an important topic, right? And you have to admit that every time we were delivering a service pack, it was a big, let's say, a big shaker for all our customers. And frankly, the rule of thumb was wait service pack X plus patch number 2 after this one to get something really stable. So we want to move away from this, right? And now innovations will be every 2 years, with in between patches every 6 to 8 weeks, cumulative patches. I think it is better for 2 reasons: quality, because we will continue to improve week after week after weeks after weeks, and 2, more time to deliver things with greater quality again. That's a topic, definitely.
And that's something, Jeff, that also Wiiisdom is able to support with continuous monitoring of their Webby documents in production. Is that correct?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what we're all about.
Gregory, I know you've got to go. If you don't mind taking like 2 more questions. We got a question from Abhishek. Would BI 2025 come with native support for ADLs or blob storage-based files as data source?
No, not by default. And furthermore, if you second part of the questions, because it's connection server, there is a connection server SDK. So, for example, here the request is to report on streaming data sets without using a third party. So there is a connection server SDK. What is it? Connection server is a web BusinessObjects component that is using to access database. Since several years, we have decided to provide an SDK for this connection, which means that you can create your own connector to access any database that you do not provide a connector by default. So, which means that if you have a specific need, like you just mentioned, for specific streaming data from specific data sources, you can use a connection CS SDK, connection server SDK, to build your own connector to achieve that.
And perhaps the last question for you before you go. So can this WIDX be integrated into Raylight?
Oh, I'm not technical enough to answer these questions.
Anybody around the table knows anything about that or not?
No.
Can SAP Webby Raylight schema internal and the output remain just
the web service of Raylight. If we can run, more than likely, if we can run through a web service export with to PDF, to another Webby document, to any of the other exports, it's just a matter of looking at the updated SDK documentation, any related functions for exporting. So more than likely, if you could export through Webby to a WIDX document, you can do it through the SDK, through the RESTful SDK, through Raylight, to probably be able to do that same thing, because it's basically doing the same thing. Raylight's calling the same system functions that Webby is that does the export. So my initial say would be it probably does, but again, we need to look at the documentation and how it would work for that.
Hey, Gregory, if you want to go, and then we'll take some more questions. But I think thank you very much for all your time and all the work you've prepared things extremely well, and we all appreciate, and we're all excited with this new version, BI 2020.
Thank you very much. Thank you, everyone. It was a great pleasure to show you the innovations. Have a great end of your day. Bye bye. Bye-bye. Have fun. Have fun.
Thank you. So, folks,
Spread
yeah,
the news. BusinessObjects is not dead.
no, that's
No,
fine.
not at all.
Far from it.
No, it's well alive. I see some of all these comments about micro strategy. Sorry about that. I was going to do an analogy. It's just ridiculous on that. No, Bob J is still strong out there. And it's right now, this is the next generation of BI. A lot of things that we're missing are now into Bob J. As Abhishek says, long live to Bob J. We've all been doing this for years, and we've been hearing, oh, Bob J's dead, etc. But you know what? I think all our large deployments are still investing in Bob J. And the cool thing there is, as Gassan was saying, is, you know what? You don't need to buy more licenses. So, I mean, it's great. This is really awesome. So I thank you very much, Gregory.
Everyone, I'm going to leave now. Bye-bye, 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 everyone.
So, by the way, for the audience, I'm curious to know if anybody is still in UNV or not. What are their versions? KJ, Nathan, in your customers today, do you still see a lot of deployments either in 4.2 or in UNV? What do you see out there?
Both. We have a few 4.2s. We still have a lot with UNVs. We're actually still working on one that is actually coming up from 3.1 right now. So,
yeah, we had the same thing. Yeah.
Fred Flintstone is migrating it, I guess.
So, yeah, I mean, yeah, and they had an XIR2 as well, but decided not to move it. But yeah, so there's still people out here that are using the older versions. It's just, change is hard, or, people have left. A lot of times we run into situations where, okay, the people who manage these systems aren't there anymore, so they don't know what to do with it. So a lot of it is, okay, how do we get it upgraded? Who do we need to contact? Stuff like that. But yeah, once we get past those hurdles, yeah, let's take it to the new version. Let's go from there. But yeah, we are seeing a lot of 4.2 still, especially since it just went end of life. And due to that, and due to a lot of earlier versions, a lot of UNVs. So it's like, okay, you're going to 4.3. Let's get you prepped to go to 2025. What do we got to do to get you there?
And KJ, how about in the? I mean, you're doing mainly federal, state, and local. What do you see out there?
Yeah, I mean, we've been kind of lucky in terms of, I would say the last 2 years have been getting folks updated or upgraded to 4.3. So we don't, knock on wood, we haven't run across any of those turtles out there, as it were. So it's I would say it's few and far between. Every once in a while, we'll find a UNV that needs to be upgraded, but again, we've been kind of pushing hard to get people, over to 4.3 for a while. So we don't see as much of that anymore, at least.
Yeah. And I see there are more restrictions in the federal space where people typically need to be on the latest versions on that. I see Gassan's got a comment. How about in Canada? How's it up there in Quebec?
It's cold. Yeah, well, it's to add to Keith, people for having done it by myself, like the move from UNV. If your backend remains the same, the migration is seamless. The only thing is, you're gonna end up with a new universe object, and repointing it. It's just for the repointing. You still need to do to accelerate the repointing of the Webby from connecting to UNV to UNX. But testing wise, it was. The backend didn't change, so you can almost guarantee that the results, the reports are not going to be impacted. But you still find that to have a tool. It depends also on how many documents you have. If you have hundreds, probably a couple of guys can do it quickly in a week. But if you have thousands and thousands, so you definitely need an automation tool like the one I use from 360, the 360 suite. But for the validation, it was quick because the backend didn't change for most of the UNV to UNX. But we still had to do the DB2 to Snowflake. This is where the SQL in the back changed, and there's a lot of work to be done when creating the connecting your universe to Snowflake, migrating it from DB2, a lot of work on the syntax and the functionalities provided by the backend. So this is where you definitely need a tool, one to repoint, and second to do the validation, and like a visual validation of the result. Yes, is if it's green, it matched, you move on. If it's orange, like the JF showed us, most of the times most of the issues came from, we have data stage, and then we move at the same time, we're moving from data stage to Matillion, so we have many things going in parallel. So the discrepancies mostly came from leading blanks, trailing blanks, tabs introduced in the migration for on the and the load for process. But don't try to do it without the deals that can actually cut in time and in effort and headaches.
Oh yeah, and I'll agree with that too, because I mean, while you can do them manually, you can even use the Admin Studio workflow technically to do it that SAP offers. That is even that is more complicated to use that. You can't do data validation except if you open them up manually and compare them side by side. And a lot of times you'll miss stuff because you're just looking at, okay, these look right. But using the 360 tools, like you're saying, you run them in batch, you get results very quickly, and you can easily tell, hey, this is wrong. Why is this wrong? Well, you got a data issue. Something changed during the conversion process. You've got maybe a rounding issue. We've seen that many times. And when you're converting lots of documents over, repointing them, it really helps. The tool really helps. It makes it much easier to do it. And I've used it over and over again at clients and highly recommend it for clients.
Yeah.
It makes life much easier than the SAP tools. Well, before this, we used to have to SDK script it before SAP had any of this and before Wiiisdom offered anything like this. Years ago, you used to have to do it that way. And yeah, I'm so glad I don't have to do that anymore.
Well, who likes doing that? And I've got a question for you in terms of the new WIDX. How do you guys see your customers using them? I think it's phenomenal, but how do you see your customers using them? Do you think there's going to be a wide adoption of that? You know, I see definitely a cost benefit Ghassan mentioned,
For sure.
but what do you guys see?
So go ahead, Keith. Sorry.
Well, so I think my biggest question is around kind of data security.
Yeah.
And I guess it's kind of a double-edged sword. I mean, people can export out to Excel or to a Webby report today, and it goes loose in the wild, right? So, just kind of, is there ways to kind of secure those zip files before they go out, right? So I think that's one question to get, kind of dig underneath the covers, is how secure is that? And I think, a lot of, at least in our space, is they'll be interested, but I think, again, they'll kind of test that out, the security components, before it becomes kind of mainstream, I think.
Governance is going to step in for sure, because we can store it in text. You can still do the same thing. You export it to a text and do whatever you want with it, and then there's no lack of ways of doing the wrong thing. But again, as long as you guarantee who's the destination is who's getting this WIDX, it doesn't matter how you deliver it for him. He's getting it in Excel now. So instead of having 2-3 people playing with the data, and they're using BO to take the data, put it in Excel, and then out of Excel they're building a nice chart so they can show it to the CEO. If we can do it for one shot from one platform and send it to the CEO, and not have too many interference in between, it's the right thing to do. It's the best thing to do.
Yeah.
And additionally, you can control, which documents may be exported. So there's a security feature already for, Excel and so on and so forth.
This is an evolution of what they've done, because originally it was the HTML export that introduced, years ago. It's like, hey, let's export this into a into a kind of an interactive thing, but the data was stale. So it's just whatever data was there is what you, what you had static. Then it was like, okay, nobody really wanted to do a lot of this. It's still there, but then you have your PDFs and your Excel documents. Everybody wanted to just pull it into their other favorite tools to do it. No, okay, so now we have the WIDX format to be able to do this. And yeah, that's the biggest concerns is, okay, whoever's running the report is where the data is going to be filtered by. So wherever that ends up is where you got to what. So there's a lot of security controls around that. How does it get sent? Where do you encrypt the zip? You know, do you repassword the zip file so only certain people have it when it actually gets sent into the wild? You know, there's a lot of unknowns here. So, you know, and again, we've had a lot of these security issues with clients as well, dealing with Webby files and, you know, dealing with Excel and everything else is, you know, as soon as it leaves the system, there's nothing.
Yeah, that's why we secure, you know, we encrypt the zips. We add passwords when we send like PDF, Excels, when we do bursting. I see a comment from John. He's saying that the zip file format seems to be clunky. So that's one of his concerns. Do you got any answers on that, or is it just well, let's see and try it out?
Yeah, I mean, pretty much none of us have really seen it or played with it yet, besides what we just saw. We don't know, but really to be able to wrap everything together, it's got to be bundled somehow. So even your HTML stuff was kind of bundled that way too.
Yeah.
So
I think it's pretty exciting. Look, I mean, that's a major progress. I get John's comment. Sure. But look, this is such a big shift. I mean, even if you were looking like in 4.3, the first data prep, you know, that was introduced at the time. Yeah, at first, you know, it was a little clunky, but you know what? It has well improved over the versions. Sure. And I'm sure that's going to be the same thing. So because it is really solid now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and the choice of the format makes it eminently portable. So that's a big plus.
KJ, Nathan, any other comments on BI 2025?
Can I get it now?
Yeah, exactly.
Who's going to be the first one? Who's going to, you know, I'm sure KJ will have a lot of customers first because they'll be forced to upgrade, which actually brings me to another point where, I mean, I mean it. I think a lot of customers now will need to be on the latest for security reasons, or sometime because of bugs, patches. And one thing I can say is don't be too late to go to your UNX, because if you have some issues like a log4j that will happen again, if it ever happens again, essentially you might be forced to upgrade a lot faster than you think. And if you're stuck with your UNVs, you're going to be in deep trouble. It's going to be hard to justify. So, you know, don't wait too long. Any thoughts on that?
No, that's exactly right. Yeah, never want to wait too long. Like I said, we see clients that do it all the time, but it's more of a don't know how to do it. But yeah, you want to try to stay not necessarily on the leading edge, but a lot of it is you want to stay up to date on these things. To stay when you're in maintenance for it, stay in maintenance. You can get it according to your current license. You have to pay extra for it, and two, you make sure you have the latest security fixes and everything else like that. That's your biggest thing, because we see that a lot from clients. It's like we get emails, you know, we're done, and 3 months later we'll get our security team has flagged our system that you just installed because we just found the SEV issue that came up. What can we do about it? Okay, well, research. Oh, they have a patch for it already. So they're releasing patches shortly after these SEV issues come out. So they're on top of things with it.
And it's not fun when you have many BI platforms to worry about. So I guess one more reason to move to one centralized BI platform, because we had the same issues with security when they show up for SAP, they show up for SAS, they show up for Tableau, and then they show up for Power BI. So if you have you have to worry about these 4 platforms at least. It's one more reason where you should centralize and go to a platform that offers most of the functionalities like dashboarding, analytics, enterprise reporting, whatever. And luckily, this is all delivered in one platform. So the reason why we're going to be remaining in with business objects will be open.
And you know, I think Gregory we were talking about data services later, so I'll be curious to see when That will really be supported because I recall last time, KJ, I think you had some customers that had to wait for, I think 6 months or so, or even more, I think, to get some support. So I'll be curious on that.
And my understanding of that too is because data services will be supported like BI is going forward with the numbering scheme, but I don't know. That hasn't been fully announced and fleshed out to my knowledge. So that's my understanding, but I can't, I'm not the one to speak on that. SAP has to.
KJ, you were about to do some comments on that?
Sorry.
Oh, no. So the one thing, and I know, you had mentioned about the Log4j issues. That's my big question, right? There's still lingering, I'll call it lingering trails of that still through 4.3 and data services. And our customers are still coming back to us is like, when is this actually going to get cleaned out? So hopefully BI, SAP's
Really
kind of clean that stuff out.
There is.
Yeah. There's dust under the under the couch. That's for sure.
That's why I might get my hands on it.
Okay, I was not aware of that, so that's actually interesting. So I guess that's always an issue when you need to do security validation and penetration tests behind the scenes.
Tentacle scans, right? So it's always picking that stuff up, and so it'll be we'll be very interested to get that stood up and scanned to see if some of that stuff has finally been kind of remediated and cleared off the decks. Finally, they'll put some security folks off our back, at least for a short term. Sure.
Well, I mean, do you have any more comments or anything before we go? Are there any other topics you want to address? Or if the audience has got some comments, actually, or some questions for Nathan, KJ, JF, and Ghassan. Please feel free to ask. We have actually a question or a comment from Santosh what are your thoughts on that? It looks like BI 2025 is leaning towards more developer-centric. Users might need some training. What are your thoughts?
Yes and no. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interject here, but we're getting a lot of 4.2 to 4.3 conversions, and that's been the big training hurdle right now. Here's the brand new interface. What do we do? So it's getting that training now. Going from 4.3 to 2025, like I've seen. Yeah, we've got a lot of the dashboards and we've got a lot of the fun stuff coming in, but even as Gregory mentioned, it doesn't require programming behind those objects. So unlike some of your other tools, which I will not discuss here, you have to go in and actually code and change everything. And some of them require, thick client tools to go in and actually do a lot of that stuff, developer type stuff. And I do SDK work for Object, but it's behind the scenes. It's not dealing with the webby stuff. It's all the other components. So a lot of this, they're making it easier for end users to do it. So while there is some powerful stuff, and you could probably still do the JavaScript type stuff you could have done for years, it's designed to give this power towards the end users. Unless I got
KJ, any comments on that?
No, I would agree. I think your power users are really going to enjoy, at least what we've seen, are really going to, enjoy upgrading because it's going to give more tools back into their hands in terms of the data analysis and dashboarding skills or dashboarding capabilities.
Yeah, I agree. And I agree. And one thing that was interesting was how interactive now is the data mode. So you can share. This is really nice. When I was reading the question there, each time I see in a question like this, BO, is like, I always think, I don't know if you guys recall that, but maybe the audience doesn't know about that. But prior the acquisition of Crystal by BusinessObjects, there was a little fight between Crystal and BusinessObject. And at the time, I don't know if you know, but Crystal used to go and ship soaps written BO because BO also means bad odor. I don't know if you guys know about that. So I love that story. So these were good old fights, before actually Crystal was acquired by BusinessObjects. So each time I see BO, I think, just say Bobje. So because the French would always say BusinessObjects. So for a BO. So that's interesting. Did you know that story or not? No? So, well, next time you see BO or soap, you'll think differently now. Imagine that. You probably wouldn't do that today. I see a comment from Aman. Customers should be concerned about how many CVs recently. KJ, any thoughts on that? JF.
Well,
Yeah.
yes, but that's the world we live in.
Yeah, I mean that just goes back to the weekly Tenable scans, right? That's bringing that stuff up and having to address it, and then how quickly SAP is able to turn around on some of that stuff, right? Sometimes they say, well, we're not using it, but you can't remove it, right? So it's always a kind of a challenge working with customer security groups where you're like, well, the software package is okay, but we can't remove it, but it's not using it, and trying to have that pleasant conversation. So,
and the big part of this is that, yeah, we're seeing more CVs, but these tools like Tennis are being more vigilant in scanning them. And it's not just business objects. They're flagging a lot of programs now that have a lot more CVEs than they used to. They're being a lot more in depth with a lot of the scanning than they used to. So it's not something that's just business objects SAP that's getting flagged for more of these. Everything's getting flagged for more CVEs.
And one thing that is, it just makes me think we also support, Tableau, Power BI, as you might know, but what's interesting is, and you got all these native cloud solutions. One good thing with BobJ is you don't have to deal with all the forced upgrades, because when you have all the forced upgrades, like, suddenly, like every month or so, you've got an upgrade, and then you realize, damn it, there's a problem. And how am I going to deal with it? We're at least there. You've got time to validate, and this is really important. So, I think that's actually a big advantage of having an on-prem solution like that, because you have full control over the version. So, yeah.
But it has a double edge, because sometimes you fall way behind, and sometimes upgrading becomes a pain. It depends. Every company has its own policies, but the recommendation is always keep up to date with the software version, security wise also.
We got a question here from Charlene. How open have you seen clients give end users the ability to the data layer? We locked that down because we feared they would mispresent the data. After all, they can change it. Who wants to take that question?
Yes, I mean, I don't want to. We've had a lot of our clients just leave it open, and a lot of it relates back to prior to data mode. It was just native SQL. How many clients open native SQL to their users and how many shut them down? And then, of course, SAP came back and said, oh, now you can view it and now you can edit it. Data mode, yes, you can edit it. You can manipulate the data, uppercase, lowercase, and now it seems in 2025 you can do functions on that. So you're really starting to get and manipulate data besides just the casing and stuff. So that's where we get into more of the, okay, you're now doing native SQL type manipulations on data. So yeah, we have to watch on some of that, and there's also different levels of that data access too. Do you have your power users, your ones who you trust with your data, or there's standard users that are your base level webby users who just have basic rights to make a report? Yeah, you may not want to give them all that functionality too. So it's not something we can tell you to do. It's something you've got to work with your security team and just determine what your users are able to and what you're comfortable with. But we've seen both. Yeah. We've seen them just open them up, and we've seen them lock it down to where the users can't do anything. So.
And Charlene, by the way, Nathan and KJ, they both do managed services, so they would, I'm sure, be more than happy to be supporting you on that. So I know we had some discussions on that in the past. So, and I would definitely, I would have no problem to recommend them. So, well, I don't know if there are any more questions, but KJ, a last word before we go?
Nope, it was enjoyable today. Definitely learned a lot, and looking forward to March 12th, right?
Yep.
Oh,
Nathan?
yes.
Same. I'm definitely looking forward to that go live, so we can demo it and get it up for our users, and looking forward to the next 10 plus years of me being able to do some of this for our clients. So knowing I don't have an end date here in 2 years.
Gassan?
Well, we have the commitment from the upper management. We're staying with BO. So one more reason, probably I'm going to order a 4.3 sandbox and the 2025 sandbox and play with both. We're moving to 4.3 for sure, but getting ready for the 2025. So just to see. So for what we've seen, it's just great.
And I recall, and I probably can't say too much, but I know you guys are decommissioning other tools, in favor of BusinessObject because it's cheaper and more reliable.
This is why we're happy to see all this new functionality. The one where the user communities was asking for, and this is where we're going to be selling them.
Okay, JF, a last word for the end.
Yeah, I see great things on the horizon. Really happy.
So anyway, thank you very much, folks, for joining. And, we've been really happy to be with you. So this is time to wrap up for today. Hope we all brought you some value. That was the idea behind. Thank you so much for tuning in and being part of this amazing event. Remember, you can catch a replay on our Wiiisdom YouTube channel if you missed anything. If you have any more questions or just want to connect, feel free to email me or hit me on LinkedIn. We're always here to help. Stay curious, stay informed, and keep pushing the boundaries. Until next time, take care, stay cool, and be well. Looking forward to see you again on the next event. Thank you very much, folks. Take good care, and thank you all.